All right, mindful nerd moment with Cassandra Cain.
Love her.
Um, so good. So okay, I was figuring that it could be really good to practice her reading body language. So essentially her version of communicating because like we were talking about, essentially Barbara's like, oh my god, this is like your superpower, this is amazing. She's so attuned to how people are reacting to things, how they're moving, that it's as if they're talking to her. So I thought this would be a really cool way of just practicing, like honing in intently on a person and what they're doing. Um so yeah so who do you want Cassandra to read body language of?
One of the people in the library, when because there's a really cool moment when she's talking to Barbara and giving her the breakdown and pretty much all the gossip of everybody in the library,
Yep.
completely based off of body language.
Awesome.
And
Okay.
I loved that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's have her. We're gonna do a mindful nerd moment where she's filling in Barbara and she's just taking a look around the library, and you're gonna be paying attention to the people in the library, just trying to take them all in without focusing on words they're saying and focusing more on that body language. All right. So sitting straight but comfortably. You can close your eyes or just not focus on anything in particular. And when you're ready, focus in on your breath. Don't worry about breathing in any particular way. Just noticing what it feels like to breathe in, what it feels like to breathe out, and using that as a way to help you focus in as we start the mindfulness. And I want you to imagine that you're Cassandra Cain. You've been living in the library for a while and just trying to figure out your life. And you've you're talking to Barbara, and she's amazed by how you communicate with people, but it's all that you've known, so you haven't really thought anything of it. And she's wondering how it is that you know so much about the people in the library. All these different people that work there, that spend time there. And so, what I want you to do is, I want you to just take a moment to look at those people. Look at the workers in the library, noticing how they move as they do their jobs. Notice how their movements go, how they hold their bodies, the facial expressions that they have as they go through their work, as they connect with other people, as they interact with each other, as they interact with the people coming in and out of the library. And I want you to focus in as if that's their way of talking to you. How they move their hand, how they motion their arm, how they lean backwards and forwards as they're scanning books or putting things away, how they smile or frown or wrinkle their face, the pauses, the silent moments, the energetic moments, just taking it all in, literally as if it's their words and you're listening intently to. And I also want you to pay attention to one last person. This is someone that Barbara was curious about. And you look over and you pay attention to that little girl who spends a lot of time in the library. She's always reading the same book. She never moves on to the next one. And you know why? Because you are listening to her, even though she's never said a word. You're looking at how she reads her book. You're looking at how she sits in the library. You're looking at how she is limited in what she can reach in this library. You see where she glances, and with those glances, you see what she wants, what she hopes, what she desires, and also what's out of reach. And you just take in this little girl reading her book, appreciating the book she has while also wishing that she could move on to the next one, but it's out of reach. Once again, you take in all her movements, the way that she reads, the way that she sits in the library, the way that she is in the library. And it's as if she's talking directly to you, and you take it all in. And you think to yourself, I'm going to help that girl get her library book tomorrow. I'm going to turn into Bat. And when you're ready, we're going to wrap up the mindful nerd moment. So, first, pay attention to your breathing again as a way of helping you shift from being Cassandra Cain in the library in Gotham back to being yourself, finishing up the podcast. And when you're ready, I'd love to hear how that was. How was it trying to readjust how you listen to people, from their words to their movements?
I loved it.
Yeah?
I loved it. Yeah, and I'll tell you why. It's because so many times, like you know the phrase, actions speak louder than words. So many times when we're interacting with people and it's not making sense, you have to be mindful enough to realize this is about something else.
Mm,
I am not the source of all of this.
yeah,
There's something that's not surface level going on here that either I can ask them about or just know that this reaction was not about me.
yeah.
And that's what it made me think of, because in the comic it's like, oh well, why does she do that? Why is she so down and out? And Cassandra's just like, well, actually this is why. Because of these little things, and look, you didn't even notice it,
Yep.
but that's what's hurting her. And why is she rereading that same book? Is that the only book she can read? No, she wants to read the other one, but she
Mm,
can't reach up to get it. And it's so many things like that where you'll interact with people and you'll have to remember that you are not the main character of Earth.
yes.
That's the way that I think about it. Like, because you have to remember that you're not the only person that gets speeding tickets. You're not the only person that has to pay their student loans. You're not the only person that's going through a breakup. You're not the only person that's fighting depression. And you have to remember that when interacting with people, because
Yeah.
otherwise what you end up doing is having this you should smile more type attitude,
Mm,
and you don't expect it. You don't want to do that with everybody, right?
yeah, there's definitely this piece of, I actually I use that a lot when I'm working with people, because we can't, wherever you go there you are. And so it makes sense that you are implanting yourself as the main character in all of these places. But you're right. We're not the main character of every story. And in fact, most of the time, there are all these other factors that, even if there's something that directly relates to us, there's almost always going to be other factors at play that can be helpful to keep in mind. And I totally agree with you that this can be a really helpful one where, so with mindfulness, you can actually focus on different senses. And with this one, we actually said, okay, well, let's take one away. And it can be really cool because you pay attention in a different way. And so words are helpful. What people say is helpful, and it's not everything. And so, yeah, I think it's cool that that is how you use this with, okay, so we're taking away the words. Let's look at all the other information that a lot of times we might overlook,
Right,
that actually helps us realize, hey, I'm not the only thing influencing my life here. I'm not the only thing influencing the world here. Let me
right.
pay attention to all the other stuff
Maybe
going
I
on.
should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I really, this, it might honestly be one of my favorite ones. Like,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
but just be it like, because I feel like I've always been someone that focused more on body language than
Mm,
words
yeah.
and like the actions. And so this one was one that really stood out to me because I, as someone that constantly overthinks,
Ah, mhm.
I tend to look at body language way more than what someone says to me.
Yep.
And yeah, and so yeah, I really, yeah, this one was very interesting.